What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me doing the Should You Summon for the brand new Overlord rerun collaboration on Grand Cross. Now, this is going to be dropping on the Monday night, Tuesday morning update, guys, depending on your time zone. And so I thought I would do the Should You Summon here on the weekend to give you guys some time to really think about whether or not you're going to be summoning on this banner. And what we're going to be doing in this video, guys, is going over the banner format, the brand new characters, and we'll also kind of touch on some of the older characters as well. And I'll give you guys my full thoughts on whether or not you should be summoning on this banner, or maybe you should be saving your gems. So before we actually hop into the video, man, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 50,000 subscribers. If you guys haven't hit that sub button already, man, what are you guys doing? We just recently hit the 46,200, I think, or 46,100. So yeah, we're definitely on the grind, man. But yeah, with that out of the way, guys, let's hop in and let's talk the banner format. So the way the Overlord collab banner on Grand Cross is going to work is that it's going to be a standard 600 pity banner with the 600 pity allowing you to pick any of the Overlord characters, even the old ones and the new ones. So this actually gives you the option of getting some of the older characters if you missed out on dupes for those characters, or if you just missed out on picking up the character in general, you can pick up your choice of the character, and then you also could get the new ones, let's say, if you do already have the old ones. So yeah, in terms of the actual thing itself, guys, 20 multis total to get to the 600 pity. At the 10 multi amount, you are guaranteed an SSR. It is going to be split between 7.69% across all the characters. And honestly, I mean, that's a fairly good chunk of, characters that are going to be, wanted on this rate, right? So if we actually pull up my calculator here and we actually calc this real quick, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to add Gelda in there for 7. So 7, so we'll do 7 times 7 times 7.7, let's say, right? We'll just round up. So half the banner, guys, is going to be something you could use on this SSR guaranteed, which I think is definitely a W, man. Just having that option of where, you get one of the older characters, or you get a Gelda, or you might unfortunately get one of these characters right here. Still, in my opinion, going to be really, really good for your account. So, yeah, that's going to be the 300 pity right there. And then, obviously, again, as I mentioned, the 600, is your guaranteed and what you can actually select. Alright, so now all the characters featured on the banner and the way the banner, in terms of the rate actually is. So 3% total rates for the banner, guys. So it's not like a festival banner, just standard 3%. But the nice thing about this is that both the new units are split between 0.5%. This is really nice because that means that the full rate up of the banner is 1% rate up, which is only, compared to other times when we summon on characters, this is a lot better. Also, another thing to take into account is, as I mentioned with the guaranteed SSR, these characters are split between 0.1818%. So let's just say if we were to add this up right here, right, in terms of the percent at a 3% total. So we have 1%, which is going to be Demiurge, and it's going to be Narberal. We do also have 4 other characters and Gelda, so I'd say that's 5, right? Because we got Ainz, Albedo, Shaltir, Kakaitis, and then Gelda right here at the bottom. So that's going to be an extra 5 characters. So we'll do 5. So let me cancel this. We'll do 5 times 0.18, right? And we're going to get 0.9%. Right, so that's really good. So we add that with 1%, and that's going to be 1.9%, guys, of the banner is something that you will probably want, right? I mean, either the new units or the older collab characters or even Gelda herself. That is split. Almost 2/3 of your SSRs are going to be those characters, which is a really, really good thing, in general, just because you have higher rates at getting characters you want. And yeah, I mean, if you guys saw my summons on JP on how they went, they were really, really good for these characters, man. So yeah, I mean, a really good thing to mention and something that I thought you guys might want to know when, thinking about the actual rates for the characters on this banner. Alright, guys, so that's pretty much the banner format and the rates of the banner. Now let's actually go over the kits of the characters, and we'll discuss what they're able to do for the new characters, and then we'll talk about the changes with the older characters as well. Alright, guys, we're here on the Sacred Treasure Podcast Twitter account. If you guys are not following the Twitter, man, for Sacred Treasure Podcast, definitely make sure to, we post a ton of updates on, new characters and when we're doing the podcast. If you guys are looking forward to that, definitely make sure you're following the Twitter at STPodcast7DS. So let's actually hop in here, guys, and start with Narberal. Let's actually go over what her kit is going to provide and what she's able to do. So shout out to Kane, by the way. He's the one who did the translations for this in the leak server, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we have the Pleiades, Narberal Gamma. The passive is going to be Battle Made. At the start of the battle, apply Electrical Wave to all enemies for 2 turns. And for every unknown ally participating in the battle, increase that unknown ally's attack by 10%. Also, when the unit uses an AoE skill card, apply shock rank 2 for 2 turns and increase the unknown ally's damage dealt by 20% when attacking enemies with the shock or electrical wave effect. Now, in terms of the actual electrical wave effect, guys, is going to be when attacked by enemy skill use, applies a shock rank 3 for 2 turns, and this excludes additional damages, and this is also a grade debuff, a shock effect. So pretty much when you have electrical wave, it's going to apply the rank 3 shock as well, which is also going to be a grade debuff effect, which means you're always going to be applying shock for the first 2 turns. Now hopping into our first skill here, guys. Skill 1, Bolt Strike Lightning. It's going to inflict electrical explosion damage equal to 500% of attack to a single enemy. Electrical explosion damage for every shock or electrical wave applied to the enemy. Increases attack related ability by 25% when attacking the enemy. So that's obviously a really good effect right there. And also in the game, guys, if you actually go to the skills in the game for that, it's going to be 200, 300, and 500% of attack for Narberal's first skill. Alright, guys, now moving on to the second skill here, we have skill 2, double strengthening electrical ball. Inflicts pierce damage equal to 250% of attack to all enemies. You guys know pierce is just triple the pierce rate of the actual character itself, so nothing super fancy with that. And in terms of the actual ranks on the pierce rate card right there, it's going to be 100, 150, 250. Yeah, just standard percents for pierce right there. Yeah, and then after the skill right there, guys, we got the ultimate here. So it's going to be double strengthening chaining dragon thunder. And it's going to apply a buff that increases basic stats by 30% to all allies for 3 turns, and inflicts power strike damage equal to 850% of attack to a single enemy. And the nice thing about this ultimate right here, guys, is that it actually does not scale with dupes in terms of the basic stats right here. So this is obviously at 6 out of 6, but the basic stats is always 30% regardless of the dupe level. So if you're like no dupes on Narberal and you get 1 copy of the character, she's going to provide 30% basic stats to the team whenever she ults, which is very, very valuable, man, in my opinion, because that just means she's not really like, a character you really have to wail for or really chase dupes for. Now moving on to our holy relic here, guys, we have for every shock and electrical wave effect applied to the enemies, increase basic stats to the allies by 3%, max of 12%. So just a little bit extra right there for her holy relic. It's not that insane, but just getting a little bit extra basic stats with that is fairly good. So yeah, that is pretty much the Narberal cure right there, guys. Let's move on now to Demiurge, which is going to be the main character for this collaboration if you guys are going to be summoning. So hopping into Demiurge's kit here, so creator of Flare Prison, Demiurge. Passive is going to be Devil's Different Faces. At the start of the battle, apply mind control to enemies with the highest attack stat and enemies with the attack stat lower than this unit. It's going to add demon race to the unit, and for every demon ally participating in the battle, increase allies' basic stats by 5% and decrease damage taken by 10%. And then at the start of an ally's turn, apply Flare's Prison Flames to all enemies for 2 turns, and then when the unit attacks enemies with the attribute advantage, increases damage dealt by 50%. When an enemy uses a debuff attacking card, apply a debuff that decreases max HP by 30% for 1 turn as well. And then for the actual mind control effect, it's going to decrease damage by 30%. When other enemies are alive, you cannot target Demiurge. And then for Flare's Prison Flames, it's going to increase damage taken by 15%, max of 8 stacks right there. So the passive is obviously really, really good. You got a lot of stuff going on here, guys. Decreasing max HP kind of counters Arthur right there for a debuff attacking skill. So every time Arthur goes for an AoE, you're kind of countering that. And then basic stats and damage reduction for demons is really strong. And the fact that he's a demon character, even though he's unknown, is another really good effect right there too, because that means you can run Nanashi back and buff both Gelda and Demiurge on the team, which I think is valuable. So moving on to his skills, guys, we have Claws of Hellfire. It's going to inflict Dark Flame damage equal to 400% of attack to a single enemy. Dark Flame is going to be ×2 critical chance, and for every Flare's Prison Flame applied to the enemy, increase damage by 80% on that. So in terms of the actual skill rankings on that, guys, so I think here if we tap, yeah, so it's gonna be 160, 240, and 400% of attack right there. So yeah, definitely fairly good scaling, and I mean the effect on the actual card itself is pretty strong too. And then moving on to his second skill here, guys, we have Flare Prison or Inferno here. So inflict Flare Prison damage equal to 250% of attack to all enemies. Flare Prison is going to be ×3 damage to debuffed enemies. Increase damage by 50% when attacking enemies with the mind control debuff as well. And in terms of the scaling on that card, it's actually going to be 100, 150, and 250% respectively. Alright guys, now moving on to his ultimate and his holy relic here. We have ultimate, which is just asteroid. Apply 4 stacks of flare prison's flames to all enemies and inflicts sever damage equal to 525% of attack to all enemies, and applies disastrous flames to all allies. Now disastrous flames is going to allow allies to ignore enemies critical defense and resistance by 30% when attacking enemies. That is really strong, man. Definitely a really strong ultimate right there, and that does kind of scale with dupes, guys, so bear that in mind. It's not like Narberal where it's, you know, you get all that on the 1 out of 6. Like, you definitely do need dupes for the disastrous flames. Now for the holy relic right here, guys, it's going to be applying Flare's Prison Flame for 2 turns to all enemies, and for every Flare's Prison Flame applied to the enemies, increase demonized damage dealt by 5%, max of 40%. So yeah, I mean, really good stuff right there from both Demiurge and Narberal, guys. Now we'll actually talk about the other characters in the collab and how they actually did get buffed. Alrighty guys, so here we are with the translations here. Shout out to Marilli here. He actually did post it on his account, so we can kind of open this up and we'll read through each of the changes with the characters, and then also the stat buffs that they actually did get for the older collab units on the banner. So the first one, the character is going to be Ainz right here. So in terms of what changed for Ainz, his first skill right here, I forget exactly what it's called on global, but proclamation, damage dealt 40% for each death mark on the target. This is now actually going to be 50% damage on the enemy now, guys, instead of 40% damage dealt. So that's obviously very strong. And then the second part here is this holy relic actually did get buffed too, where it went from 3% up to 5 times to 4% up to 5 times. So 15% basic stats. Now you're actually getting 20% now, which is a lot better. So 20% base stats and 50% damage dealt on the single target. I think that's honestly very strong. And then moving on to Albedo here, guys, all she really got is just the scaling on her single target did increase. So it went from 180 to 200, 270 to 300, and then 450 to 500 on the single target. That reduces the damage dealt. And then moving on, guys, we got Shaltir here. The changes with Shaltir are going to be her passive part, where she gets the HP related stats. It now actually went from 7% up to 10% now. So you get up to a maximum of 30 now instead of 21% before. And then in terms of the actual skills here, the first skill did get changed. So for the rank 1 and the rank 2 at the very least. So it deals 150% of attack to a single enemy for the first skill. And now it's actually 180. And then instead of 250, it's 270 now. And then the 450 on the rank 3 actually did stay the same. So none of that actually changed. And then moving on to Kakadas here, guys, for his passive right here, instead of 10% on the HP on the allies, or no, it started out as 8% and now it's actually 10%, sorry. So the translation here kind of got a little bit mixed up, but after the change, pretty much it's going to be 10% HP increase to allies, whereas before it was going to be 8%. Alright guys, so that pretty much covers the buffs for the actual characters' kits. Now in terms of the actual stat buffs here, you guys can see it's not actually translated here for what it is, but Ainz pretty much got across the board all his stats buffed right here, including substats. So for the most part though, you can't really gauge what it is, but this is going to be attack right here. I think this is defense right here, and then this is HP, and then the rest are just going to be these substats right there. So obviously a really nice buff for Ainz. And then for the other characters here, it's just basic stats for Albedo, Shaltir, and Kakadas. So all of them did get the basic stat increases here for their base kits. So you guys can obviously calculate the amount of increase that they did gain as well. Alrighty guys, so that pretty much covers all the characters from the Overlord collab, and then also the changes with the older ones as well. Let's actually go back to the banner now, guys. I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts on whether or not you should be summoning on this banner. Alrighty guys, now should you summon on the Overlord collab rerun banner coming to Global Grand Cross? In my opinion, guys, I think this is not necessarily a must summon banner, but a very like recommended banner in my opinion. Now the main reason why I say this is because you have kind of the team build here for Demiurge if you're looking for a PvP character. So Demiurge, you have Gelda on the banner, you have Nanashi backline. That's already 3 characters of the demon team that you're running right now, because it's kind of an unknown demon team in a sense. And then the other character that you would slot in would be DK Melly, or even like Astarosa, or whatever other demon that you already own, right? So that is really strong right there, and the fact that you can get all 3 of those characters on the banner is very valuable. Now Narberal, I think, is going to be a very valuable character for floor 4 of the bird. If you're looking for an unknown buffer for the team, she's going to be able to provide up to, what is it, 40% for a full unknown team on floor 4 of the bird. And then also you're going to be getting the 30% basic stats from her, all even at 1 out of 6, which is very strong too. So both the new units are actually great in terms of just being strong characters in the game. And then even the older Overlord collab characters, guys, like Ainz is just going to be a little bit better because of the stat buff. Albedo is already great on Demon King and going to be even better now with the buffs you did get for her kit. And then with Shaltir and Cocytus, I mean, you know, they had their uses and their use cases, guys, mostly for like final boss related content, but they're still great. And, you know, Cocytus is a character that is very, very strong on a lot of final bosses that do come around, just because Unknowns are able to stack up so much HP now with all the basic stats and just the HP that he can, you know, stack in his passive, that this team is going to be one of the better teams now. And, you know, since you're able to get Cocytus and Shaltir on the banner, that's going to be very, very valuable for your account. And then obviously, guys, we gotta talk about Gelda being on the banner as well. Like, that's another huge selling point of this banner. This is her second rerun in the game, and she is still one of the best characters in the game, especially now with Demiurge's release. She's actually back at the top of the meta now with the Demon team, and I would actually recommend, you know, pulling on this banner just to, you know, maybe snipe, you know, Gelda as well if you don't own her already. Because, you know, you probably would have skipped her, you know, from the past banners as well. So yeah, this is honestly, guys, like, if we look at the filler, this is a really, really good banner, man. The only bad things on this banner really are if you have these characters 6 out of 6 already for Red, Tarmiel, Sariel, Nanashi, Chandler, Kusag, Ludo. Like, if you have all these characters 6/6, okay, that definitely does suck. But like, look at the rest of the characters. You don't have a 6/6 Gelder, there's no way. You don't have a 6/6 of the Overlord collab characters, and the filler is so less that you have really, really good chances at pulling the characters you want, guys. So in my opinion, man, I think this is a must summon banner. Personally, I actually did summon on my free-to-play account as well, and I did really, really good, guys. I pulled Ainz, I pulled Gelda, I pulled Demiurge twice, and I pulled Narberal, and I got her at the pity. So I really got everything that I wanted on my free-to-play account, and I think that if you guys are summoning on this banner, you should have a really, really good chance at getting a lot of the things that you need, man. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much my take right there on the Overlord collaboration. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys are gonna be summoning on the banner, you know, let me know what your situation is with your gems. I also did a video where you guys are actually able to get a total of 600 gems for this collaboration, so definitely check out that video if you guys haven't already. And with that out of the way, guys, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'm going to see you guys on the next video, man. Peace out, and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.